Began promising enough with an excellent goal on the opening day in the win over Coventry. But Bolton, on their first home game in the top flight for 15 years, responded positively. They equalised early in the second half, a header from Icelandic international Gudni Bergson. But Newcastle, with so many attacking players in their side, still had the scent of success, with Ferdinand unlucky to hit the bar from Peter Beardsley's cross. Then, with 13 minutes left, they restored their lead. Robert Lee's second goal in 4 days, arriving courtesy of Keith Gillespie's centre. Then the Newcastle bench, along with their large shouting support, was celebrating another 3-goal tally, with Ferdinand underlining again the qualities that persuaded Keegan to part with £6 million for his services. He collected his second of the game and third in 2 matches in typically determined fashion. Maximum points for Newcastle, none so far for Bolton. The picturesque Pennine Hills provided the backcloth for the latest confrontation between northern rivals Leeds and Liverpool. Their respective opening day victories had helped confirm pre-season optimism at both clubs, with 2 names in particular dominating the headlines. For Leeds, Tony Yeboah had begun the new season with a venomous double strike at West Ham, while Liverpool's £8.5 million signing Stan Collymore had scored his team's winner at home to Sheffield Wednesday. At Ellen Road, Collymore's first contribution, though, was to prove a costly one for Britain's most expensive footballer. Not only was a promising run ended by this tackle from John Pemberton, but so too was Collymore's part in the game. It was a big disappointment for Collymore on 2 counts. First, as the replay clearly shows, Pemberton's intervention surely warranted a penalty kick. While in the meantime, an ankle injury will now keep him sidelined for a couple of weeks at least. So Collymore substituted, and young Robbie Fowler honors his very able replacement. The commentator on the highlights, John Helm.
Road, James never saw it. Well, he did it to West Ham on Saturday, and this man is quite sensational around the goal-scoring area. He doesn't even look up. And look at that for a venomous strike. Tony Yeboah, the new darling of Ellen Road, hammers it into the roof of the Liverpool net. Jones to knock one back in, right on towards Rush, and Ian Rush is just going to creep the wrong side of the upright. He steals in behind the Leeds defence, caught out for almost the first time tonight. McAllister, nice pass, Wallace takes on Matteo, doesn't get past him though. That's excellent work from Matteo McAllister. Well, it's gone a whisker wide with the aid of David James. Such an intelligent player, McManaman, and Rob Jones is going to have a crack here. Hits the upright, took a deflection, a wicked one, but that was almost one for the collectors as Fowler whams it across goal. And now McAllister. Leeds conscious of keeping as much possession as possible. Dorigo knocks it into the heart of the area. Here's Dean. Wonderful stop from James. Otherwise, the points were in the bag for Leeds.
Blackburn Rovers spent very little on transfers in the summer, but now Matt Holmes has been signed from West Ham to help strengthen their squad. It was a hugely entertaining night at Hillsborough, with Sheffield Wednesday's attacking poise first to show. This was Mark Pembridge striking the Blackburn crossbar. Then on 18 minutes, the opening goal. Chris Wattle's cross, eluding everyone to the embarrassment of Blackburn's normally reliable defence. The champions, though, were pressing hard for the equaliser, and it duly arrived on the hour. Holmes and Tim Sherwood setting up the goal for Alan Shearer, his second of the season. That's how it stayed until 7 minutes from time, when Wednesday pounced for a deserved first win. Pembridge, a summer recruit from Derby, combining with Ian Nolan before steering in the decisive goal. A disappointing night for Blackburn, their misery completed by the dismissal in injury time of Mark Atkins, this for use of foul and abusive language. That's now 2 sendings off for Blackburn in consecutive games. After their opening day defeat at Aston Villa, Manchester United were anxious to reassure supporters that they're going to remain a major force in English football. They certainly have a major stadium. The latest addition to their marvellous arena will eventually increase their capacity to 55,000. United clearly aren't fully into their stride yet by any means, but they eased in front against West Ham 5 minutes into the second half. Good work from Dennis Irwin, paving the way for Paul Scholes' opener. West Ham, though, was soon level, albeit in fortunate fashion. Inspired play from John Moncur, leading to an own goal, a deflection off United's returning captain Steve Bruce. But it was United who went on to secure the extra points, with fittingly the winner claimed by Roy Keane, the young Irishman of whom so much is expected this season since the departure of Paul Ince. He had an outstanding game in midfield. A welcome sight then for those worried United fans, the entrance as a substitute of Andy Cole, now on his way back to full fitness after his recent injury problems. Still one dramatic moment to come, an unsavoury one too. Marco Boogers, West Ham's new Dutch striker, launching himself at Gary Neville. Referee Dermot Gallagher had no option but to send him off. Manchester United 2, West Ham 1. At the City Ground, plenty of chances but no goals. There certainly should have been one for Forest in the first half. Kevin Campbell, their capture from Arsenal, squandering this opportunity from close in. Forest dominated throughout but had to survive a scare or two themselves. This one when Mark Steen went racing clear for Chelsea, Mark Crossley saving superbly. Brian Roy scored twice for Forest at Southampton on the opening day, but wasted this chance to increase his tally when he lost his balance after sidestepping Dimitri Karin. Honours even for the two Dutchmen, Roy of Forest and his compatriot Chelsea's Ruud Gullit. One goal settled an uninspiring contest at White Hart Lane, and it was Aston Villa who scored it. Defender Ugo Ehihog heading in Mark Draper's corner with just over 20 minutes remaining. Villa just about deserved their second win to maintain a 100% start. They were deprived of a second goal by Ian Walker's smart save from Dwight York. Tottenham were very disappointing, and it clearly wasn't their night, as they discovered when Chris Armstrong's effort was ruled out for an earlier offence. The replay clearly shows that he handled the ball before steering it underneath Mark Bosnich. Everton and Arsenal had both failed to win their opening games against Chelsea and Middlesbrough respectively, and for much of this match at Goodison Park another draw seemed likely. David Platt was closest to a first-half goal, his header rebounding off the Everton crossbar. It was a niggling, mainly untidy affair, and it was Arsenal who produced the finishing power to win it. First, Platt on target this time for his first league goal for his new club, after again good work from Paul Merson. A quality goal in which the other newcomer, Dennis Bergkamp, had played a part, and the Dutchman was involved in the second goal as well, his vision sending Ian Wright clear for an excellent strike. 2-0 to Arsenal. Everton can't have Andrei Kanchelskis in their lineup soon enough. The loss of Les Ferdinand has been a major blow for Queen's Park Rangers. Their hopes of scoring enough goals could well depend on the ability of young Kevin Gallen to follow in his footsteps. He was close here against Wimbledon early on. The Dons' new goalkeeper Paul Heald keeping him out. Heald is being preferred in goal to Hans Segers, and it'll stay that way if he continues to produce this kind of form. Gallen, the unlucky man again, as Rangers fired the early pace. But the trend was soon to turn. Wimbledon's first taking the lead just before the half hour with a goal from their Norwegian international, Øyvind Leonardsen. They doubled that lead early in the second half. Dean Holdsworth, the scorer, to punish more sloppy Rangers defending. But within a couple of minutes, Holdsworth was on his way off the field. The striker, who had already been booked, had fouled Danny Maddox in aggressive fashion. And his action prompted a distasteful brawl as players from both sides waded into each other. All very regrettable for two clubs who only recently were given suspended fines and warned as to their future conduct. Australian Ned Zelic, Rangers record signing from Borussia Dortmund, came on for his first taste of Premier League football but couldn't alter the outcome. Indeed, it was Wimbledon who scored the final goal. This from John Goodman with just 7 minutes to go. Rangers bottom of the table, but Wimbledon have started most encouragingly with 6 points out of 6. At £500,000, Coventry believe Brazilian Isaias from Benfica could be one of the bargain transfers of the close season. He made his full debut at home to Manchester City and helped his team in front on 12 minutes. He released Ali Pickering, and his cross produced a strong header from another of Ron Atkinson's new signing, Paul Telfer. Manchester City strove hard for an equaliser, and their perseverance paid off 9 minutes from time. Uwe Rosler with a typically brave header from Nicky Summerby's centre. But soon after Rosler had recovered from his efforts, he could only watch in dismay as Coventry struck for the winner. The home side rewarded with Dion Dublin's late header from a cross by John Stilako. 2-1 to Coventry. So, checking on the midweek results, Newcastle, Leeds, Aston Villa and Wimbledon are the only clubs with a 100% record. Manchester United registered their first win of the season, while Ron Atkinson's Coventry were another club securing their first points. Champions Blackburn Rovers, beaten by a late goal at Sheffield Wednesday, will want to be back at their best against Bolton in our opening featured match. As for Bolton, they'll want to prove their critics wrong and quickly dismiss the thought that they're relegation material. The match commentator is Martin Tyler.
Bolton have lost both their matches so far. A tough start for Bruce Rioch's replacement as manager, Roy McFarlane. But he's been pleased with the level of performance and names an unchanged side. Two players in particular coveted by bigger clubs, defender Alan Stubbs and Republic of Ireland midfield man Jason McAteer. Another Irish international, Owen Coyle, partners Dutchman Fabian de Freitas in attack, with last season's top scorer John McGinley as yet unavailable through injury. Blackburn's defeat at Sheffield Wednesday in midweek, no cause for panic for Ray Harford and no changes for Rovers either. So a second opportunity for newcomer Matty Holmes, who had an outstanding debut at Hillsborough after his move from West Ham. Both goalkeeper Tim Flowers and substitute Mark Atkins have already received red cards this season, but their suspensions not yet started. They're involved today. Keith Burge is the referee. 12 years since Blackburn last played a league game on this ground, which is so close to their own. Alan Stubbs with the header. Roy McFarlane has brought in a system of 3 central defenders. Stubbs is one of them, alongside a new signing, Chris Fairclough from Leeds, and the Icelandic international Gudni Bergson. The goalkeeper Keith Brannigan just having to scurry there as the rain held the ball up a little in his own penalty area. Berg. A flick from Chris Sutton. It's Ripley! A sight of goal for Blackburn Rovers inside the first minute. It fell to a player who really has lost his way when it comes to goal scoring. It's been documented so often now that Stuart Ripley didn't get one at all last season. Glorious season as it was for Blackburn Rovers. Green's cross. Oh, and Berg. And then Hendry. Coyle. De Freitas. 1-0 to Bolton. Confusion for Blackburn at the back, just as there was when they lost a goal late on to be beaten by Sheffield Wednesday last Wednesday. And that air of uncertainty carried on here at Burnden Park, with Pearce and Berg going for the same ball. Flowers down, and De Freitas hooking it in. 21 minutes, and for the first time in Premier football, Bolton Wanderers are in front. Now Sutton. That's clever work from him. Well, statistics don't tell you everything, and Chris Sutton contributes a huge amount to the team effort. But if you look at the record books, you will see that Sutton scored twice in his last 26 Premier games. So he's long overdue a goal. Well, Bolton a bit slow to react after a misjudged header by Pearce. I think Roy McFarlane might be a little concerned that his side that didn't really go the distance against Newcastle on Tuesday might show one or two signs of fading here, despite the encouragement of still leading. That's on from Sherwood. This is Holmes. It's gone in. Matty Holmes spun and shot. And Blackburn score when they're on top, as they have been. Roy McFarlane was thinking of making a substitution. But he couldn't change things in time. And Holmes, via the back of Phillips, brings Blackburn level. It's one striker for another. Mike Newell, the replacement. 11 minutes to go. And Roy McFarlane's telling Gudni Bergson to go up, or at least some of his defenders to go up. Bergson staying back, the player who scored against Newcastle, heading in a corner. But they've sent Stubbs forward and Fairclough. Patterson to try and put it into the right area here. Oh, marvellous goal from Stubbs, and Bolton are back in front. And Blackburn must feel that it's all going to happen here at Burnden Park as it did at Hillsborough in midweek. They're 2-1 behind again. Stubbs was a bit bashful in going forward, but when he got there, he was picked out perfectly by Mark Patterson. And a real captain's contribution, this. A towering, unstoppable header. A first Premier success for Bolton Wanderers. And what a scalp. They've beaten the champions. It'll mean so much to Roy McFarlane and his players. It's Bolton Wanderers 2, Blackburn Rovers 1.